In the spirit of reconciliation, I acknowledge the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea and community. I pay my respects to their elders, past and present, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Island peoples today. Welcome to Totally Lit, the podcast celebrating reading, writing and creating literature. I'm your host, Ky Garvey. Thank you for listening. Anna Johnston, welcome to Totally Lit.
Thank you so much for having me.
I love the title of your latest book, When Lemons Give You Life. I feel like I might have lived this book title. I've had lemons and I'm loving life at the moment. Would you like to tell me a little bit about your latest release?
Absolutely. So When Lemons Give You Life is about a retired Michelin-star chef called Griff Barlow, who is now living in a nursing home. He's widowed, he's lost his beautiful husband, he's grumpy and depressed and ready to depart this earth. But being a Michelin-star chef, he is determined that his last meal will not be the beige slop that they serve at the nursing home. So on the night of his planned demise, he breaks into the nursing home kitchen to cook himself his final meal, which is a lemon tart. The act of cooking stirs this long, dormant joy, and he delays his plans and soon begins cooking for other residents who in turn come alive with each bite of Griff's delicious creations. But has a secret so big that it could destroy everything he has left to protect. Meanwhile, his younger half-sister Lisa is dealing with a midlife ADHD diagnosis, the spark of a new romance, and news that may change life as she knows it. Despite their very long, fractured sibling relationship, she dutifully visits Griff, even though she knows that hope of reconciliation is long gone, buried in the silence between them. But when souffles and secrets and second chances collide, they may just discover a recipe for redemption.
Thank you. Oh my goodness, I cannot wait to get stuck into this. It's got so many things that I love. I had seen that there are some aged care homes that are all LGBTI, and I had never realised or thought about that. And it makes so much sense as well that you would want to be with your community. Very interesting. And the ADHD diagnosis as well. There's a lot of that in the media at the moment. Is that something you've had any experience with, or was it something you thought you wanted to embed in the novel?
So I was diagnosed with ADHD at 40, and it suddenly made sense of so many contradictions in my life, why I could study really hard and get good grades, but at the same time be floored by the most simple of tidying tasks, how immense creativity and clutter could exist in the same mind, empathy and distraction. Yeah, and it's been a real journey. And I think it's something that is really misunderstood, especially in women. And so I wanted to shine a light on that with empathy and humour. And I'm hoping that a lot of people feel seen in Lisa, or those that don't have the condition, that they might gain a little perspective on what it's like to live inside the mind of a person with ADHD.
Yeah, it's interesting. I have a lot of friends who've either been diagnosed with autism or ADHD midlife. And in multiple different reactions in terms of some have felt, oh, that explains it. And then there's others that have gone, oh, does that mean there is something wrong with me? I read an article today in Mamma Mia where there was a woman who'd been diagnosed with ADHD, and I can't quite recall her name at the moment, but she was talking about she felt an element of shame with that diagnosis.
Yeah.
And I kind of identify with it in that when I was young in primary school, I had to go to remedial months in about grade 3. And I remember walking to it and feeling so much, oh, I don't want to tell my mum and dad that I'm not good at this, even though my talent, like I can spell any word you throw at me. I'm great at English, but I felt such, a challenge to share with other people that I needed help with something. But I do love the way that women are sort of celebrating their diagnosis. How have you felt with your diagnosis? Have you been sitting okay with it?
I have been. There's certainly, I think it's really mixed. Like, I don't think calling it a superpower is correct,
Yeah.
but also at the same time, it's sort of something that it definitely does affect, how you're able to work and live and function. But there are certainly positives to it and there are challenges. And I think it's about, embracing all of that. For me, knowledge is power. So for me, ultimately, even though there is a little process of grieving as well, I think knowing that about yourself and how your brain works and why you find certain things difficult or other things easy, it's just a really helpful tool to know. So I'm very glad that I got the diagnosis, and I hope that, as I said, I hope people will read the book and sort of feel, there are a lot of women now being diagnosed, not because there are more women that have ADHD, but because we understand the condition more and how it presents differently.
And I'll tell you a secret, Anna, you are the first person I've ever shared that remedial math story with. So
Oh, there you go.
I'm like,
Your
I haven't
secret.
talked to that. That's my
It's
secret.
public now.
Um, yeah, it's funny because my dad was a maths teacher, but it didn't travel to me.
Oh, it tends to happen. Yeah.
How have people been receiving the book? Have you had some reviews and things? Have people been enjoying it?
Yeah, so it's not out until the 28th of April. It's a very emotional book. It's a heavier read than Frederick Fife, but it is still full of humor and hope. I sort of
And
wanted to explore some deeper issues and some complex characters, but it still has all of my humor and hope throughout. So
and that's your first book, The Borrowed Life of Frederick Fife. Is the pressure off now you're in the second book of your career, or are you
definitely
feeling
not. I
like
don't
an
think
established author now?
not really. It's funny because I was talking to an author friend the other day and we're sort of saying that you don't ever feel I don't know that it gets any easier. Like, more what to expect this time around, like with publicity and edits and all of those things. But certainly the writing of book two, if anything, was harder for me than book one. And I'm on to book three now. And again, I'm in that place of, major imposter syndrome, which I don't think ever really leaves. It might leave for a fleeting moment, but then when you're back sort of doing some of the hard work, it rears its head. So, but I'm loving the journey.
Did you initially get your first book published? Did you go through the slush pile, or how did you first get started?
So I do feel a little bit bad about sharing this story because it's a total unicorn story and I don't credit it to my own brilliance whatsoever. I believe I was in the, right time, right place, right person. But I was getting ready to write a query letter, but in the meantime, I'd heard about the literary speed dating with the Australian Society of Authors.
They're the
And
best.
so I did that with Penguin Random House, and my very first pitch was a yes. And so it was
Amazing.
just, my first book, I'm not sure if you've read it, but the main character was inspired by my grandfather and best friend, who was basically the kindest person on earth. And I believe, I really credit that book and its success to his magnetic kindness, which is impossible not to be drawn to, rather than my own writing skills, because I have many talented writer friends that have been slogging away, for years. So I don't think it's necessarily just about talent. It's often just, finding which door opens at the right time. And it's different for everyone. But I was extremely lucky.
I have found the Australian Society of Authors amazing. I write picture books, so I did a picture book matchmaker with them last year. Then I got a call back and ended up with a pitch, and that was a great experience. I didn't actually get asked for my manuscript to be sent through after the pitch, but I
Mm.
found like the whole process, like you send through your manuscripts and they have someone judge them and then they match you with the right picture book publisher for you, and very affordable as well, because that's one thing I find a bit challenging is
Yes.
when you're submitting everywhere and you're paying for pictures and paying to meet an editor and it costs so much money.
Yes.
And then sometimes if you've already burned through your budget for the year, like, well, I
Yeah.
have to stop now. I
Yeah.
always submit when publishers are open through their portals.
Yes.
So I've found, yeah, I've been very happy so far with my experiences. So everybody join the Australian Society of Authors
Yes.
because you
Very
can
good.
get published like Anna has with Penguin, that's like one of the dream publishers to be published by as well.
Mm.
It's very exciting. Now, your background, medicine, and you also have worked in nursing homes. So that's obviously the inspiration for some of your stories.
Yeah. So I never became a doctor. Like I thought I wanted to be a doctor like my wonderful dad my whole life. I studied really hard, got into medical school. But when I was about halfway through, I began to realize that my passion sort of lay elsewhere. And, you know, having enjoyed a really close relationship with all four of my grandparents and even my great grandfather, I was really drawn to working in aged care. And I saw so many people who were like really socially isolated and the effect that that had not only on their physical health, but their mental health. And I kind of wanted to be part of the prevention rather than the
Mm.
treatment. So I changed to do a degree in public health. I did some local government work where I developed a cooking program for older widowed men, which was part of the
Because that's
inspiration
a
of
big
this book.
cohort that there is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Older men can get very lonely, especially if their wives have passed before them, and it's a
Absolutely, 'cause what
challenge to lure them
yeah.
out to connect.
Yeah, so that program was great because it wasn't just about, you know, nutrition and nourishment. It was about having a reason to come out of the house, to go shopping, to make decisions, to have agency. And there were just, you know, there were beautiful friendships formed. And some of the men began hosting their families for the Sunday roast again,
Oh, that's incredible.
you know, that their wives would have done. Yeah, so that was wonderful, but it was when my grandfather, Fred, who was my best friend, was diagnosed with dementia that I switched careers and went into the nursing home so we could spend more time together.
Oh,
And
that's so
it was
sweet.
there that I found
That
it was there that I found my passion, but also what would be, didn't know it at the time, but would become the setting for my first two novels.
that's incredible. That sounds lovely that you got to spend that special time with your grandfather as well.
Yeah, yeah, I'm very lucky.
I have been blessed to have beautiful grandparents on both sides, but they're all gone now. And I'm
Um,
old enough that my parents are now they've just ticked over from being older to elderly. And
yes.
so they're needing a lot more support. And the
Mm,
challenge I'm finding is how do I provide them with that support while I'm still, as I have two boys with autism, so I'm still providing my boys with support. I'm working
yes.
full time. I'm doing a podcast and trying to have a writing career. And I'm like, oh, I think I'm approaching a time in my life where I'm actually going to have to wind everything back because my parents are going to be a priority, and as they
Yes.
should be. Like,
Yeah.
I love them and I
Yeah.
want them to get the best care that they can, but it's
Yeah.
going to require time for me. And I think that's such a big issue for so many people that are in my age group, that they're suddenly
Absolutely.
torn between, what do they call it, the sandwich generation, where they're still caring for their
Yeah,
children, but
between
they're
sort of
suddenly,
motherhood and also then your
yeah,
parents being in that older bracket, absolutely, and you're sort of burning the candles at both ends, so it's a high pressure time, particularly
but
if you're also, yeah, working and things like that.
mm,
It's so
oh,
challenging, it's a battle so many people are facing, and it's a really tricky one because in my experience, those that proactively choose to move into care tend to have much better outcomes, you know,
mm,
particularly mentally, than those who sort of get to the stage, maybe they've broken a hip and suddenly they're forced into aged care. So, but trying to, yeah, have those conversations is so tricky because none of us want to give up our independence. And I wish
just,
that nursing homes were more enticing. Like my job there was to try and, you know, really provide a quality of life and a meaningful life, that life may end in a nursing home, that living doesn't have to, that there can still be purpose and connection. And that's something I really, yeah, I miss working in aged care, but I do hope that through my books I can try and shine a light on some of the issues that perhaps aren't so great. and
Yes,
that you
yeah.
can be part of the change.
Well, you can have a really good quality of life. I worked for a chain of retirement villages, which is a
Mm,
little bit different in those kind of facilities. You need to be able to afford to invest in those
yes.
to live there. So
Mhm.
there is an element of privilege being able to live somewhere like that as opposed to being
Absolutely.
in a government facility
Mm,
where the sometimes the quality is different in terms of it wouldn't be the fanciest place to end up. Um,
yeah.
but there can be like a really good community though.
Mm,
So if you
absolutely.
find the right place with the right people, life can still be a great life rather than
Absolutely.
being isolated by yourself. And
Yes,
safety is so important. That's what I worry about, mate. It's safety.
cool.
Even for myself, because I've been hobbling around with my crutches and I've had
Oh.
crash course on what it's like to have limited mobility. Even it's
Yes.
only been 3 weeks, but oh my goodness, it's like, oh, everything takes 2 or 3 trips. Like I can't just grab stuff and run.
Yeah.
I have to
Things we
think
take for
about
granted.
everything I do. And I've had a hip replacement. And so if I fell at the moment, I could damage myself quite easily. So
Mm,
keeping an eye on what the floors and there's no carpets or cords to trip over or my little puppy. But as I approach being an older person, I'm going to have to think about that. Like, you have to think about that all the time once you're on crutches all the time or in a
yeah,
wheelchair. Like, and life
yeah.
changes so much. And I think we
Mhm.
forget that all of those people, they're older, but their minds are still vibrant. It's just their bodies
Absolutely.
aren't letting them do the things they wanted to do before. So
Mm.
you're not working in aged care now? Are you a full-time writer these
I'm a
days?
full-time writer now, yes. I hadn't worked in aged care for quite some time. I was a stay-at-home mum for over a decade before I started writing the book, so yeah.
You're living the dream. Full-time writer. And have your kids, are they older now or have you still got littlies?
They're older now. I have one in high school, one at the end of primary, so yeah.
Because it's a bit different when you're trying to write with babies
I
opposed
couldn't do
to
it. I
older
couldn't have
kids.
done it. So, yeah, I have friends that have written with a newborn and I'm just, all hats off to them because
Mm.
I would have done it.
I'm still having trouble now getting words on the page when my guys are 20 and 24, so they're much more independent than they used to be. And I'm like, oh, I think it's just me procrastinating is the problem. So book three is coming, and is that with Penguin as well? Is that did you have
Yes,
like a 3 book
yes.
contract?
I had a 2-book contract, but I've been offered another 2. So, yeah, 2 more on the way. I've just recently started writing this one, which is not set in an aged care home, which will be a nice change of setting. Yeah, it's about a milkman in rural Tasmania. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah, I'm quite
Change of
excited about that.
area. I just went to an event last night with some Tasmanian writers here in Brisbane. It's quite interesting.
Lovely.
Have you been to Tasmania to do some research?
Not yet, but I plan to over the summer. I'd like to, yeah, go to a dairy farm and sort of, do some grassroots research. Yeah, if I can have the opportunity.
Yeah. Amazing. It's such a beautiful place. It's on my bucket list. I haven't visited yet, but
Oh, it's
I would
beautiful.
like to
Yeah.
go there. Now, I've got a few questions just so my listeners and your readers can get to know you a little bit better. What do you think young Anna, so primary school Anna, would think of
Mm.
your career now as a writer? Like, so, as you said, you were aiming for medicine. Would she be surprised by this outcome?
I think she'd be surprised and delighted. So, primary school Anna loved to write plays. Like, while most kids were playing with Barbies and Legos, my best friend and I would write play after play after play and we'd perform them for our very patient parents. So, that love of storytelling has been in me from a very young age. And, I think when I sat down to write this novel, I was considering, do I write it as a screenplay or do I write a novel? I ended up choosing a novel because I had more experience in creative writing and also that you can get very deep into the POV of the character in a novel. Yeah, but I think she'd be surprised because she would have thought I would have been a doctor. But yeah, I couldn't be happier with where I've landed. So I feel very grateful.
Amazing. And would you be performing if you got yourself a Netflix contract for one of your books? Would you say, "Oh, I can also perform
Well, so
one of the characters"?
Frederick Fife has actually been optioned by Netflix. Yeah.
Excellent. That's so exciting.
Yeah. I don't think I'll be starring in it if that was the question, but that for me was the most thrilling thing because I had always written it with the number one goal of being
Mhm.
adapted for the screen. So that was something because honestly, I love film and screenplay as much as I love books. So that they're sort of like really equal
Yeah.
loves for me. And so being able to, do both would be amazing.
How did you feel when you got the news? That must have been so exciting.
Oh, just, in disbelief, pinching myself. Yeah, just really, again, put it down to my grandfather who was just, his magnetic, unconditional kindness just, I think, appeals to so many people. Like, I
Mhm.
think we're really drawn to qualities like that, and particularly older characters as well. I think there's a craving for nostalgia and for our grandparents and for simpler times, and I think, that it was the right story at the right time. So, yeah, I'm thrilled
So
to see
was
what
that
to do with it.
something did you have to pitch that to someone, or was that something do you have an agent that sort of helped that
Yeah.
happen?
So after I got the publishing deal, I did enlist an agent, which I'm so grateful for. And she was able to get me a US agent as well as a screenwrites agent. And the screenwrites agent pitched it. Two screenwriters picked it up who were wonderful. And then they, had dinner with an executive from Netflix and they gave him a copy of the book
Oh,
and he
wow.
read it and he was like, yep, let's make a movie. So yeah, incredibly lucky.
And how much collaboration do you get? Are you able to be involved, or you just
Sort
get
of
to see it when it comes out?
they've been very kind in letting me read the script and sort of give thoughts and things like that. I'm not, I don't have a seat on the writing table, but yeah, like it's been nice that I was actually able to go to the US and meet them, which was really lovely.
Fantastic.
And so, yeah, I feel that it's in very good hands. Yeah, in the future, if there was any opportunity to be involved in screenwriting, that would also be a dream come true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How incredible. Are they at the point of filming yet, or is it still
No,
in the
it's still
works
sort
at
of
script
in
writing
yeah, it's
stage?
been it's been written and I think they're sort of looking for a director and those sorts of things. So it's a very slow process. They sort of, say don't count your chicks before they've hatched
Mm.
kind of scenario. There's a lot of puzzle pieces that have to really all fall into place.
Yeah.
But, so far so good. And even just to have that offer was, just thrilling.
Oh my goodness. Listeners, any of you that have signed up for pitches with the Australian Society of Authors, look at how far you can go. I love that. That's an amazing journey. What tips do you have for an aspiring author who has big dreams to
Mhm.
have a novel published and maybe get a Netflix contract? Have you got any tips that you can share about what you've learned along the way?
Yeah, absolutely. One is that I would definitely get a writing group. So I did some courses through the Australian Writers Centre, which I
Yes,
highly,
did
highly
you?
recommend. They are fabulous. They're, easy to follow, engaging courses, amazing tutors from the publishing industry.
Yeah.
And yeah, not only did you learn what you needed to learn about like structuring a novel, but then it also put you in touch with aspiring authors. And that was sort of like this amazing thing. It's kind of like, I mean, I haven't been to the gym in like over 30 years, but they say if you do go to the gym, you're much more likely to go if you've got a friend going, if you've got an
Yeah.
accountability partner. And writing is the same. Having that group to share feedback with was amazing. And reading other people's work and providing, feedback on that helps you with your own writing. So, and then the other piece of advice is that you just have to write the first draft and don't look back. Don't stop to polish prose and grammar, because that is like icing your cake batter.
Amazing. Now, another question for you is, can you tell me something about yourself that your readers and my listeners would find surprising?
Such a tricky one. I guess one interesting thing that kind of vaguely relates to the book is that I am a self-taught cake maker. So it started when my children were born and I wanted to make them themed cakes. And so what kind of started as something quite simple ended up being quite, like I learned how to use fondant and modeling chocolate. And I ended up making my brother-in-law's wedding cake with all of these sugar
Oh,
flowers. And I've made like my daughter a disco cake that sort of span around, and a Jack and the Beanstalk cake that went up into the clouds for the
so
theatre.
you've gone beyond the Women's Weekly
I went beyond the
cakes?
Women's
Yeah,
Weekly.
you've
I
gone next
graduated,
level.
but I don't actually do it so much anymore. So, like, now that I'm writing, that's kind of more my creative outlet and what I focus on. But yeah, I do, like, that was a really fun thing to be able to do and to be able to, do for other people.
I have no creative talent when it comes to anything with aesthetics or anything that I have to create with my hands. So I can't sew, I can't paint, I can't draw. I can bake cakes, but they're nearly always flat.
Oh,
And they do look like I made them when I was about 5 years old, as opposed to being
oh.
a mid-40s person.
Well, I also
So
can't sew.
they,
I can't sew, I can't draw, I can't do any fine art things, but for some reason, when it's to do with food, I can
yes,
do it. Maybe there's motivation to taste it at the end, but yes, sewing, I can't sew to save my life.
everything I create is created with love, though, and the cakes always taste good. They just never look
That's the most important.
it.
It's Yeah, taste is always the most important, and the love is even more important.
I can make a mean cheesecake, but it does take a lot of time and effort, so they
Yeah,
only get done on special occasions.
no.
And the rest of the time, I don't bake at all. So, but I'm not winning Mum of the Year this year.
Oh, it sounds like you've got enough on your plate, though. It sounds like you're doing an amazing job balancing it all.
My boys are both still alive, but I'm like, well, I've
Oh, A
survived
plus.
20 odd years. They're tall, they're healthy, they're still
Yeah,
alive.
that's
Oh.
that's the goal.
And they do things like hold a door open for someone. If they
Oh,
get to a door of a shop or something, they will stand back and let someone through it. I'm like, oh, I must have got something right. They're always very polite to people.
that's
Um,
huge.
yeah,
Yeah.
so they are a bit like, oh, Mum, don't tell people about your book. Don't tell them, like, because nearly every word that comes out of my mouth is, oh, on my podcast, or I heard a podcast. Oh, Mum, shush, stop it. Gosh.
Oh,
Peak mum energy if you can make your kids cringe.
yeah. Teenagers.
So when can we expect your next books to be coming out? Are they
So
still mid being written?
yes, so it'll be a book every 2 years. So this next one, When Lemons Give You Life, is out April 28, and then the following will be, sorry, 2020. What am I saying? It's April 28 of this year, and then the next one will be 2 years after that.
Wow, so you've got a solid career ahead of you. That's amazing. And do you still have like a traditional launch now you're a famous author? Like, do you still
I don't know
go
about
to a
famous.
bookshop and
Yeah, no, I
do a
still
book
have a
signing?
launch. So I've got a Melbourne launch coming up. I've got a mini book tour. I'm actually going to New South Wales and Queensland this time around, which is really
Amazing.
exciting. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to that.
I'll have to make sure I come along and say hello when you're in Brisbane,
Yeah, that'd
because
be
I'm a
great.
Brisbane-based author.
I have a Brisbane event, so
Oh,
yeah.
incredible. That will be wonderful to meet you face to face.
Yeah, lovely.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Anna. I
It's a
appreciate the
pleasure.
chat, and I've loved hearing about you and your book and your upcoming Netflix TV show, maybe movie.
Yeah,
I
fingers
wonder who
crossed.
they'll pick to play the characters. But oh, I'll have to calm down about your next.
Yeah, don't worry. I already have like a full cast in my head and all of it. It's I mean, even when I was writing it, I already had that all set out. But yeah, you have to let go of it a bit too, because it sort of becomes, this other being, which is
I would be beside
how it
myself
needs
if
to
something
be.
that big ever happened.
Yeah, it's very good.
Well, thank you so much for joining me, Anna.
It's a pleasure. Lovely to chat. Thank you for having me.
Totally Lit is an independent podcast. You can help support us to continue to chat with wonderful Australian creatives by leaving a review on iTunes or sharing our socials with your friends. You can also make a contribution at www.buymeacoffee.com/Totally Lit. This will also help with equipment and podcasting platform fees. I love to interact with our listeners, so feel free to say hello either by email or social media at totallylitpodcast@gmail.com, or you can find me on Facebook, Insta, LinkedIn and Twitter, and now Blue Sky. I've also created a group on Facebook called the Totally Lit Writing Community. It's a space to continue the conversation and share your writing successes, events, launches and latest projects. Jump into the group and say hello. Thank you for listening to Totally Lit, and don't forget to go out into the world to read, write, create, ignite.